Disney are releasing their second drop tomorrow on Vive, and many of us are wondering what the price could be, what the market's going to do, what should we be paying attention to, and how can you actually move forward with this? Well, in this video, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. Welcome to Inside the Vault, a brand new series where we discuss the upcoming Vive drop, giving you behind the scenes information as well as price predictions and my own market strategy to help you grow your knowledge and your wealth. A big shout out to Sir No Face for the suggestion on this name. Thank you so much, I really like it. Welcome everyone, my name is Andy and I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come and watch this video on the channel. Just before we get started, if you are enjoying this type of content, learning about the finance, NFT and crypto space, then be sure to hit that subscribe button, as I'd love for you to be a part of this community. We all sort of know Disney by now. We've watched the movies, some of us have went to Orlando, Paris, or anywhere that they've brought out a Disneyland, as well as a lot more. So Disney is a home name. We've all seen what the Disney Golden Moments have done on Vive. With all that, there's a lot going on with the Steamboat that's being released on Wednesday. If we have a look here, we can see that in 2021, Walt Disney himself is in the 50th Fortune 500 companies with an estimated 65 billion, but also a decrease of 6% over the last year. When we look at the world's most valuable brands in 2021, Disney do beat out YouTube, TikTok, and are just behind Netflix in their value. And when it comes to the 2020 of the list, we can see they are just behind Coca-Cola with a brand valuation of 61.3 billion and an 18% one-year change from being in the top 10. Just goes to show how popular of a brand this truly is and what this drop is going to mean to Vive themselves. We've had a Disney drop before with the Golden Moments, like we said, but this one is a little bit different because we're not getting all of the different sort of brands. They're not golden, as well as being something that's very original, the first ever appearance that we ever saw of Mickey Mouse himself. What is being dropped on Wednesday is Steamboat Willie, which was the first ever appearance of Mickey Mouse, which I believe was around an 8-minute short video of Mickey going down the river, and that's the one that we're going to be getting in NFT format. Now this was released in 1928, produced by Walt Disney himself, and is Mickey and Minnie's debut act for all of it. We can also see in this video here that the animation studios that Disney do use are from Steamboat Willie themselves, and this is the NFT that we're going to be getting for Vive on the Wednesday, which is just insane to even think about. With all of this significance and how big of a company Disney is, many of us are going to be wondering what this truly could be worth and if it's something that we should be picking up. Should we be moving forward with it, or should we be holding off a little bit for what's to come in the future? So let's have a look at the drop and what we're going to be getting when Wednesday comes around. This is the Mickey Mouse NFT collection Series 1, and this is what we're going to be getting. It's going to be in blind box format, and we're going to have the first ever synchronized sound cartoon Disney Steamboat Willie, starring Mickey Mouse with a black and white 3D Steamboat Mickey standing proudly at the wheel of his ship. Now, the common that we're going to be getting is here with 18,920 editions costing 60 gems, will be the same for all of them. And the brand is the Mickey Mouse NFT collection, with the license being Disney. Now, you will notice here that there isn't an FA or an FE, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit further on. But let's move further forward to see what else we're going to be getting in the mint sizes before we go into that. We come to the uncommon with 13,928 editions, with Mickey actually whistling when the steamboat is moving, and that is what he is doing when the steamboat is actually moving in the short film. Now the final one is the ultra rare with 6,928 editions, and it has animation and sound. So I'm guessing that Mickey's going to be doing the dance that he does in the thing that we'd shown before, as well as whistling as what he does in the short film. This is incredible to see and something I am so excited to get my hands on, whether I get that in the drop, which is unlikely, or get it in the secondary market, which I'm more likely going to have to do. Before we actually get into it, let's look at something that's a little bit interesting that happened last night. We can see that the uncommon here is the Mickey whistling. Well, on Gail's video that he released last night after the drop had been announced, we can see that the uncommon is actually different to the one that we're going to get, and they've updated the Medium article for this to be the case. That shows me that there are other Mickeys within this that are ready to be dropped in the Series 1 for this. Could this mean that if we get all of these, we may get an airdrop with one of the Mickeys from this NFT collection, or potentially this could be for Series 2, but with it already being made, I don't really think they're going to be waiting that long to drop it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's something to pay attention to if you're someone who wants to collect the sets and potentially get some form of airdrop, if this is to actually be the case. I'm not 100% sure why they changed the design right at the last minute before releasing the article. Just pay attention to that. Make sure you're keeping an eye on what's going on here, because this will be interesting to see if drops do happen, even when it comes to something like Disney. Something that I've seen a lot of comments on when I discussed it was the mint numbers. 18,900 13,928, 13,928, and 6,928. That's a lot of mint numbers. We're reaching around 40k additions for the full thing. And is that going to put people off of buying them? Is that going to make the price lower? Well, the way that I see it is that as we grow and as we develop ourselves further, VeVe are sort of going to stay in a line with the percentage of people who get the drops compared to the amount of downloads or active users that we're getting. When we had the Disney drop itself in the first instance, we still had around 7,000 and 11,000 mints when it came to the drops for the uncommon and the rare. And that was quite a lot of the time. But now that we've grown to over 1.3 million active users and over 2 million downloads, maybe even reaching closer to 2.5 or 3 million at this point, then upping the additions isn't actually really upping the additions. It's just moving the additions to the same percentage of new active users as well as downloaded on the VeVe app. So in the past, if we were getting 1k mints with 100k people in the app, we're now getting 10k mints with 1 million people in the app. It just works in the same sequence, and the same percentage are going to be able to get it, but slowly moves up as the user base grows as well. I think that's the most fair way to do it, and it's the same percentage people happy who are getting the drops. Because if we keep it to 1,000 additions when there's 1.3 million active users, percentage of people who can get these in their vault is significantly lower than it would be a few months back. And that's why I believe the additions are a little bit higher. Don't let this put you off for going for Disney's first ever Mickey on its own and the Steamboat Willie, which was the first ever appearance of Mickey himself back in that day. When we're looking at the Disney collectibles and some other things we can compare it to, we can see that the uncommon and the rare did have effectively 7,000 to I believe something like 12,000 additions when they were dropping. So there still was quite a lot of additions when it comes to this. But now we're seeing things like Elsa and C-3PO sitting at 1k, the Mickey hat sitting at 2k, and Partners sitting at over 13k at the moment. But again, Partners was the ultra rare, it only had 4,000 odd additions, so that's why it is a lot higher, and also the only ultra rare for it, as well as the first ever appearance of Mickey and Walt on VeVe and in the digital space as a whole. With these sitting at those prices, Disney are one of the biggest companies in the world, and with people still saving their gems when it comes to the 12 days, as well as MTL coming, and finally some other big announcements that they've not even heard yet, then this may actually be cheaper in the beginning than many may think. This is also not FA or FE. From my understanding, first appearance is the first ever appearance of the digital collectible in any digital space that we've ever had. This is why Coca-Cola were more likely first editions rather than first appearance, because they have already dropped something. But when it comes to Mickey himself and the Steamboat, I thought he might have been first edition, which is not actually been confirmed and is not first edition at all. But I don't want this to put you off of what this could truly be worth. For being the first ever true appearance of Mickey Mouse in the physical world, this is going to hold significant value and credibility for what Mickey is known as. We've known the collectible of the partner statue of Mickey holding Walt's hand, as they both represent what Disney is. But Steamboat Willie also does this as well, and is something that is truly significant in what it does. I also believe that this drop could be potentially a little bit riskier than, say, the likes of the Disney Golden Moments, because we knew exactly what was coming out with Disney Golden Moments. We could say the same with what happened right now when it comes to Deadpool. People didn't buy into Deadpool and actually sold him off because they knew something else was going to be coming, and therefore he sat around 120 gems. Coca-Cola got announced and he went down to 90 gems at one point. This is because people were selling off as they knew something else was coming. And again, when it comes to Coca-Cola, they're probably selling off a little bit cheaper than they should be right now because people expected something else to be coming, which then again happened with Disney, meaning they sold off the Coca-Cola stuff, with the common reaching upwards of 200 gems and then slowly going back down to I believe 140 last night at some point, and did maybe slowly start to rise again with this. Again with the Mickey, we believe that there's going to be some other big announcement that is coming in the next few days. This means that you could get in a potential great deal at the moment if you're smart about this and are okay with maybe not having the liquidation for whatever announcement does happen in the next few days, even if one were to happen. When it came to Disney Golden Moments, we knew exactly what was coming out when, and most likely could gauge when this was going to happen because of the release of the articles. But with this, we don't actually know what's going on. With the change of MTL as well as the 12 days still going on, people may get a little bit scared and try to get liquidation, depending on how they're feeling. And with the amount of mints as well, the average investor may also panic thinking there's too many additions with this, when in reality, it's not actually that much in the grand scheme of things. Personally, I believe that the common is going to sit at around 250 to 350 gems after it finds its sort of general foundation, but rise quite sharply after that. I can see it going easily upwards of 500 to 600 gems if it continues to move and when people start to demand it more as the supply lowers. And when it comes to something like the ultra rare, I believe it may start in the region of around 1500 gems, but also quickly rise as more people are sought after it, seeing that it has sound and animation, as well as some form of potential that we might get an airdrop if you have the set. With the uncommon being changed so quickly, are we going to get something else alongside that if we collect them all? Or are they going to be waiting for Series 2 to release this? My understanding is maybe they wouldn't release a Series 2 with Steamboat Willie, because there wouldn't really be much of a point of releasing a Series 2 of the exact same thing. This leads me to believe that there could be some form of potential for either a giveaway or something happening for users to get this uncommon that was removed after the article had actually been released. When it comes to the uncommon, I always find this quite hard to judge because people have been undervaluing the uncommon quite recently, and with the whistling, this does have some form of significance, so I'm still going to say that the common will be more than the uncommon, sitting at around 200 gems or maybe 250 gems just below common, but I do believe all three of these will rise because a 3 set is quite small, and I think a lot of people will want to collect all of these when it comes to it. Things like Deadpool had 5, Coca-Cola had 4, and this having 3 is really interesting to see. And again, with Disney being one of the biggest companies in the world, Disney also having more collectors than something like Coca-Cola has, I do see these being higher than what Coca-Cola were and rising more sharply than Coca-Cola did, with people wanting to get in. If we look at the prices of what the Disney Golden Moment sat at when they released and finished, we can see that things like Elsa sat around 200 to 250 gems, and once Walt had finished, shot all the way up an all-time high in around 4 days to around 12 to 1300 gems. This was because people were so sought after what Disney were and wanted to collect the first ever appearances of these characters. So when it comes to Disney, collectors know how valuable these are, and I think a lot of people are going to learn from the Disney Golden Moments and therefore buy into these fairly quickly. That means the common could easily rise to the likes of 400 and 500 a few days if there's no massive announcement that makes people want to sell off. If we get something like Boba Fett being announced, I reckon there will be quite a big sell-off, especially if he's animated, and maybe some other big announcement that some of us have been waiting on. But we've just got to see how this price moves and how we move forward with it. Personally, I'm going to be trying to get every single one in this set and have gems set aside in order to do this. To me, this is very significant, being the first ever true appearance of Mickey Mouse as a whole from 1928, as well as the sort of first ever appearance of Mickey in digital format on his own. Yes, we've had the first appearance of Walt in the partner statue, but this is the way Mickey is depicted and was depicted in the first instance. Don't let these additions fool you that this is something that's not going to be worth that much. I truly believe a lot of people will be after this, and especially the collectors who are wanting this significance of what Disney holds in itself will be something a lot will want. But what's your thoughts on my analysis? Do you think there's something I'm missing? Do you think it will be the guess that I've put it at? And what market strategy are you going to be following? I'd love for you to let me know down in the comments. I know the video on the screen right now will be something you'll love to watch. Have a fantastic day.